Hey, good news! Berger Pankro 400 is back in stores. This is not a paid commercial, this is just my love of the product. There was quite a long period when the manufacturer couldn't deliver these for some reason and you couldn't find any Pankros in any stores. Now it's again available. I ordered myself a bunch of this because I simply love this film. Developed in, surprise, surprise, Rodinal, it gives this really old-fashioned, creamy look that I so much love. So, good news. Hey, listen, there are aspects in my photography that I'm pretty happy with. You know, I can go and compose an image. I can get the exposure right, even long exposures. I can go to my darkroom and even get them printed and sold. Some people buy my stuff. So I get something right. But what I'm not happy with are typically the emotional aspects of my photos. You know, I'm desperately seeking for photographs and pictures that mean something to somebody. Move them somehow emotionally or take them to some places. And that's where I struggle. Now I bet we all see those video clips on YouTube when musicians play an instrument and they play it extremely fast and sometimes even accurately. And we go and watch those because of the sheer amazement of those technical capabilities. You know, I play a few instruments, so I find those video clips interesting. And then I watch them and I wonder, how is that humanly possible?
Go!
But there's no way I would take that music on my turntable and submerge myself into that music. It doesn't have the emotional dimension that I want in my listening experience. It's more a circus act, a gimmick. And I feel my pictures are too often the same way. You know, I don't mean that you don't need technical skills. Of course you need certain technical skills. Sometimes a picture is, for example, composed in a way that I don't like it. And then I end up staring at that faulty composition. And it ruins the emotion for me. Or sometimes there are unfocused areas in the places that in my liking there shouldn't be. And then that kills the emotion. So I guess you need to have a certain level of technical expertise to produce a decent photograph. But then to go to the next step, to the emotional meaning, I don't even know what word to use. Emotional content, then you need to go one step further. And that's where I struggle big time. A few videos ago I told you how I use Instagram nowadays. To me it's not so much to gain followers or popularity, but it's more like a learning tool. It helps me to publish my images on a regular cadence, but even more than that, I look at other people's images and I try to learn from them. So for this exercise, for my search of more emotional content, I search for pictures that to me resonated. Pictures with whom? Can you say whom? Pictures with whom I spent more time than with some other pictures. Let me show you a few. So now, when I look at those pictures, I try to make a list of things that I think that cause this emotional reaction in me. I know this is dangerous. Maybe you shouldn't even make a list of emotional aspects of any art form. Maybe that kills the emotion and, you know, any feelings. But I can't help myself. I'm a person who puts his entire life on an Excel sheet and creates lists and strategies. So that's my way of getting a grasp of things. So here we go. What are some of the thoughts that, you know, went through my mind when looking at these pictures? Less is more. Don't explain or show too much. I don't know if you ever saw an old horror movie by John Carpenter, The Thing. It happens on the Antarctica. There's something under the ice that causes havoc with the research team. But they never really show the thing. They only indicate it. They only give hints and whatnot. And that's really powerful. When you don't exactly see it, but you feel it. Then the second thing was avoid the obvious. Cliché kills emotion. Those pictures that I showed to you, to me, they were not clichés. There were no obvious things. What I mean by obvious is that if I would go and photograph something that has been photographed millions of times, say an Eiffel Tower, a basketball hoop, or maybe a front headlights of a car, then it's very difficult to get beyond that because those subjects have been photographed so many times that all the emotional meaning has already been explained and there's nothing left for me. So for me, the pictures that show something different, something that is a bit foreign to me, that has a better emotional dimension. Don't brag about yourself or your work. That's the third one. That's off-putting. Let the work rise above you. There are pictures that are obviously shown just because of their technical merits. And I sometimes go too far with that. I go on my boat and put a tripod there and show you guys how marvelous I am. I can balance on my boat. And I'm not sure if those pictures have anything. That's what I'm talking about. So when the execution or the technical things go are the only reason for that photo to exist. Then don't be too serious. Laugh at yourself sometimes. That's a difficult thing to do, but if you can do that, laughter, joy is a powerful emotion, and if you can make the viewer also laugh, I mean, that would be powerful. Create context. I love minimalistic photography, and I often reduce my pictures to a bare minimum. I want to get rid of all the clutter, everything that is not meaningful in that picture. And then sometimes I go too far and I create pictures that, because there is no context, there is no depth. I mean, we all see those minimalistic pictures when there is just a tree branch, but everything else is white. Or there's somebody's hand and everything else is black. And it may look interesting from the graphical point of view. But to me, those pictures are often shallow because there is this thing, but there's not a context. The picture doesn't take me anywhere. I'm just looking at this graphical execution. And then last and not least, technical flaws. Especially in composition or too much editing kills all the emotion. That's for me. As I explained earlier, like if there are some technical flaws, my eye wanders to those technical flaws, and that's the only thing I see. And Photoshop has destroyed more pictures than any other application, so there's that too. So then, hey, based on these, this is a bit stupid, I made myself 5 rules. Yeah. Talk less. Hide something. Don't be lazy and obvious. Don't brag about yourself and your work. Create context. if possible, laugh. Then I went to my own photo library and I tried to find images that might fulfill one or two of these newly discovered rules of mine, and this is the outcome. Hey, maybe I'm after something or maybe I'm not, I don't know. I think it makes sense to concentrate on things that don't feel right, where I feel that I have room for improvement, and try to push those things forward. I bet that the list for you would be different, though. I don't think that's a universal list of beneficial things, but I still think that that is a good list for me to keep in mind. There are especially two things that I think that are above all. One was this show less, hide something, and then the second one was create context. Now, for example, this picture, it shows less, it hides a lot of things, but it's really emotional for me because there is some familiarity in it. It looks like a little bit like the place where my mother grew up on the farm, but I don't really know what it is. So it has this personal connection and emotion. So showing less means that, to me, that I, as a viewer, I need to fill in the blanks. I become a co-creator of that image because I fill it in with my experiences and my thoughts and my emotions. Showing less gives room for the viewer to become a co-creator. And then this create context. That's another thing that me has a tendency to clean up my pictures, get rid of the clutter. I sometimes go too far. And this context creation is so important because with that, I think, the viewer can go with the photographer into the situation, into the location. Like in this picture. It would be a nice portrait just without the context, but now this background creates this marvelous context. And I feel I'm there with the photographer. Also sort of co-creator. Hey, thanks for watching this. And now I'm gonna take a short break, summer break. We have some plans with my wife to travel a bit, and I'll take some photographs and show them to you afterwards if they are any good or if I come up with some ideas based on them. But you know, I'll take a few weeks break. And now I'm planning to use those 5 rules, especially those 2, and see if I can get anywhere. Probably not, but it's interesting to try. Thanks for this spring, summer season. Thanks for joining me on these weekly rants. And then after summer, something else. Take care.